What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here from DFS Army, and this is your NFL Week 6 Draftkings First Look. All right. Welcome back, guys. We already did the FanDuel First Look lineup. Now we're taking a look at the DraftKings scoring system. And I'll briefly go back over a little bit of what we just talked about before, which is some of the games that are of interest here. Of course, standing out above and beyond all of them, Washington, KC, 55-point total, 7-point spread. This is the game. This is the game to get a lot of exposure to. And as a bonus, we've got Darrell, Damian, one of the Williams brothers coming in super cheap, starting running back for KC with the injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So we have to pay attention to that. Both of the running backs in this game are fairly inexpensive. A lot of the pieces from Washington are inexpensive. There's a super sneaky WR2 on the Redskins that we have to Washington team that we have to take a look at as well, maybe as a salary saver this week, but might be a little bit thin for the first look lineup. But I am looking at some items about this Washington team. I'm looking for the sub 5K plays period on DraftKings. So if you guys have ideas that are watching this, spit them out to me, because my first glance was there is not a whole lot going out sub 5K wide receiver position at all. So we're going to have to kind of look for interesting ways and creative ways to make a lineup fit. Some of the other situations, of course, Jonathan Taylor here stands out for the Colts. Colts defense maybe in this particular game. We've got another really, really exciting game here with the Chargers and the Ravens. Really close. Ravens at home. We just saw what can happen with the Chargers blowing up, with the Ravens blowing up. I mean, it's still fresh on the mind. It's Tuesday. What Herbert did last week, what Lamar Jackson. So I want to have a lot of exposure to that game this week. Yes, Scott, you're definitely going to have to be creative. I have not seen the value yet. Like, it's not that it won't appear and present it. That's what the whole week of research sometimes. Like last week, I just rewatched my first look lineup from last week, and Kadarius Toney wasn't in it. So that was somebody that we got on, as the week went on, and we saw, oh shit, this guy got a lot of targets. And as we got on, Kadarius Toney was one of my highest owned guys, over 30% last week, and I noticed the first look, I didn't even have him. So that's the beauty of this. We kind of get a sense of things, but we'll build out our way from here as the week continues. Running back, Darrell Henderson, interesting here for the Rams, heavy road favorites. And we've got, those are the main games of interest. A couple other little notes, like Fields might come into play here this week. Yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, he's been getting a couple targets. What's interesting is the Wiz, Khalif Raymond, all the way up to 5K. Like, what the fuck? You can't even get a bargain on the Wiz. Nobody's supposed to beat the Wiz, too. And I'm not believing that right now. So, this Dallas game, surprisingly close spread here. So we'll have to see how that goes. Real quick, I'm going to sort the Dom station specifically at the running back. And again, it's early in the week. The projections are like the most basic they're ever going to be. But here we go. See, Anna Smith for Tyler Boyd, who I like. For me to really want to get on that, I need one of the other wide receivers from the Bengals to kind of be out, because we just can't rely on those targets. But I do like the Bengals overall. It's just hard to know. I mean, Chase was sucking up all the targets last week, and Boyd really killed us. So a little scared to go back to that. A little nervous. But if we sort by the RB position, note that, here's Darrell Williams. Here's DeAndre Swift and Darrell Henderson standing out as the three top values. That makes a lot of sense. It's going to be hard not to play Darrell Williams at 6K. Darrell Henderson, the Darrell brothers, Darrell Henderson and Darrell Williams, double D. What's the difference between 20 max and 150 max when it comes to lineup construction? You should take heavier stands in 20 max, fewer players, heavier stands. You can spread your exposures on 150 to the point where you don't need a ton of any one player. In 20 max, you're not taking that tournament down unless you take chances. You probably want to load up all in, pretty close to all in, on at least 3 spots in that, and only use 2 or 3 quarterbacks at most. Also increase the uniques from 3-4 to maybe even 4-5. So you've got to be more. You got to take bigger stands with 150, with 20 versus 150. Skull Clown. All right, so the Darrell brothers really stand out, and let's just start building this lineup, and let's start with the Darrell brothers because to me, this is how you start your lineup. And this is going to be how most people start their lineups. Darrell Henderson getting all of the touches, 17 carries, didn't need a whole lot of passing game work, but he gets it. He gets passing game work, 5-6 targets the last few weeks. So I'm going right back to him in a plus matchup. And Damian Williams is just part of the other Darrell Williams, part of this game that we want a piece of, starting for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He gets some passing game work. We're kind of forced to play him. It really comes down to you got to play him. Got to play him. All right, so let's just start our running back position with these guys. Now let's shift over to defense, and let's see if there's a cheap defense that we can all get behind. You know I don't like paying up for defenses. Last week we played the Eagles in the first look, and it worked out on the slate. They actually scored 12 points. That was great. They were my cash defense. They were everybody's cash defense, so that was pretty easy. Can we play Washington? No. Lions of Cincinnati? Probably not. Texans at the Colts? Maybe. Baltimore, no. Giants, no. Chargers, no. Cleveland, no. Cardinals, not really. KC, maybe. Carolina, probably not. Ugh. They're not making it easy, are they? Cowboys, no. I mean, none of the defenses really look great. Colts against Houston, that stands out probably the most on the slate right now. Packers, I think you could probably play. Rams, but I'm not paying 4,700. Hell no, 4,700. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, fuck you, defense. Fuck you. And we're going to play a cheap one for no good reason other than they're cheap. If I have luxury funds to spend at the end of the lineup, we'll go back to it. All right, let's talk quarterback position. So, of course, Mahomes, 8,300. Very expensive. Going to be hard to plug him into any kind of lineup. Keep this in mind. Like Mahomes is always 25 plus fantasy points. So in a cash game, there's some merit to just locking in those points. But if we're in any sort of a tournament, when you pay the highest price for the quarterback, in order for that to be in the winning lineup, that quarterback has to outscore every other quarterback on the slate for all intents and purposes. So we're not just betting that Mahomes has a good game. We're betting that he beats every other lineup on the slate. He might. This is a time when he can do it, but I usually am not going to pay 8,300 for my quarterback. I like paying down. So Kyler Murray's a little cheaper, also good spot, but you've got to almost keep this to sort of game stacks. It's a little too expensive unless we find some crazy value, but I didn't see any of it so far at the wide receiver position to open that up. So I'm going to try to pay down a little bit at quarterback. Again, I love Lamar Jackson. I love Justin Herbert. Very, very good with either of these guys. At least we're saving 1,000 off Mahomes. We just saw what Lamar Jackson is capable of. That's 45 fantasy points. Yeah, you're right, Kyle Reed. Baltimore defense is not that tough, and we just saw last night them the Baltimore defense just got tore up, and of course we saw that Justin Herbert has 45 fantasy points in it. It was a 45-point bonanza last week. I didn't have any of those guys. I didn't have Justin Herbert at all last week. I'm sick over it. I want to throw up, but I do think this is the game to target, the second game to target Jackson Herbert. I think it'll be very popular. Moving down the list. Joe Burrow carries some interest here at 6,300 at Detroit. One concern I have is just that Cincinnati may just lean on the run. They may not need to throw that much in this game. So we might not get enough out of Burrow. It's not like he's been putting up 40s anyway. He's been closer to 20 points. So I'm going to stay away from that. He's not cheap enough to really justify it. Samwise Darnold, yeah, I think he could be played here. Go right back to him after the dud. Most of his games have been really good, but again, a tournament play. I don't trust him anywhere near cash. I think I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go right back to my play from FanDuel with Taylor Heineke. Now, I don't think that Heineke is good for 36 fantasy points. Let's be clear on this. I don't think he's getting us there, but I do think we're probably good for 25-ish fantasy points in this spot. And for 5,800, that's 612, 1824. That's a solid 4X. he should get us a solid 4x. So I wouldn't mind upgrading it, but if I'm forced to, I'll play some Taylor Heineke right there at my quarterback spot. If I keep moving down the list, of course, there's a couple of other quarterbacks of interest. Fields at 5,100 in a game where the Packers are not going to allow Chicago to just like play defense and run the football. You can't do that against the Packers. You're going to have to throw. So we'll finally get to see Fields air it out. But again, I don't trust him to the point where I can actually trust him in any sort of a lineup where I put significant money or cash or any sort of consistency out of it. And again, the price fries up really quick. So I think my next stop would be Lamar or Herbert. And then, of course, Mahomes. So that's going to be, for me, my pool is going to be Mahomes, Lamar, Herbert, Heineke, and then maybe go down to Fields as sort of primaries. And of course, there's some other games that might have slight interest or might pick up interest as the week wears on. Let's take a look at wide receiver here. And I guess if we're going Heineke, we should probably just pair him up with Scary Terry. No reason not to. If Heineke's doing well, McLaurin will be doing well. He is the prime candidate. I want to see this other. You know what? Let me look it up here. I know that there was another wide receiver that was popping. There's a lot of injuries in Washington, both to the tight ends and to the wide receiver corp. So, I mean, I don't even know if we discovered who it is, right? Gandy Golden. No. Can't even figure out. We can't even figure out. I think it's DeAndre Carter. No. Let's see. Previous week, who got snaps? Who got the snaps? Yeah, it was DeAndre Carter who got in the game a little bit. So, DeAndre Carter. Man, what a thin play. But let's take a look at what DeAndre Carter, like imagine that if we discover a reasonable, crazy ass, silly for the millie punt. 8 targets last week. Let's pay attention to the situation is all I got to say. If De'Ami Brown is still out, if Curtis Samuel is still out, Curtis Samuel got hurt last week. If all of these guys, there's no tight end on the team. If we're looking for that cheap 3K guy, maybe DeAndre Carter. I'm not willing to put him in my lineup right now. I'm not willing to stake my reputation on DeAndre Carter on Tuesday, but I'm just mentioning that he got 8 targets last week. Hashtag just saying. All right. I'm not doing that though. Casey Washington. So we've already got a Heineke, Williams, McLaurin little triple stack going on here. Fine by me. So let's take a look and see if we can identify. There's Wiz Khalif, 5K. What the fuck? Right? Really? Kadarius Toney obviously had the big week last week, but he's questionable. I'm not even sure he's going to play this week. So I'm definitely not super into that. Some of these cheapies that I think are potentially playable here in this 5. Let's take a look at 4 to 5K and just note that it's really not very good. I mean, third and Renfro, sure. Robbie Anderson, I guess. He's getting targets. I don't want to use him here, but, I guess. Rashard Higgins. Yeah, I think you're going to have to mix these guys in, but none of them stand out. Mecole Hardman. Yeah, okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Chris mentioned him. 8 targets last week. I think that's reasonable as well. If Quintez kick-his-ass Cephas is out, which he is, that does raise the Rashard Higgins, not Rashard, the Amon-Ra St. Brown target floor, I guess. Man, playable. 8 targets the last 2 weeks. I think it's playable. 13 points. That's what you know what? I think it's playable. Chris, I'm going with your play. 8 targets the last 2 weeks. No Quintez kick his ass Cephas. To me, why not? Let's create some salary. All right, let's go to tight end. Washington, KC. Ooh, Kelsey at 7K. So we pay down at WR2 in order to afford Kelsey. I'm okay with that sacrifice. Let's see if there's any tight end where I'm like, oh, I could just pay down for this guy. But I mean, Waller, right? Almost the same price as Kelsey. I'm going to go Kelsey. Mark Andrews, we love. And if I have to pay down, he's probably my next choice. Mark Andrews, fine by me. I think Noah Fant, aka Noah Fant, is playable as well. A lot of injuries to the Broncos wide receiver core. So I think you can have some interest in Noah Fant. Hunter Henry, big week last week. Not sure you can replicate that, but interesting. David Njoku came out of nowhere. Who, what, where did that come from? 30 fantasy points. David Njoku's performance last week is one of the reasons why it's so hard to win $1 million in the Millie Maker, because you had to have David Njoku. It's that serious. And how would you have him? Why would you have him? But you needed him. That's why it's hard to win $1 million. Yeah, Ricky Seals-Jones. Ricky Seals, yeah, I think he's playable. By the way, if we're not playing Kelsey, and this is a Heineke lineup, I like the Ricky Seals-Jones play. So, one could go that way. One could go that way as well. So you double down, but that'd be a trio. Like if we go Ricky Seals-Jones, we don't need to use Amon-Ra. Matter of fact, yeah, we don't need to use Amon-Ra at all. So if you went Ricky Seals-Jones, you could probably just go with Tyreek Hill. A different way to go. So it's either Kelsey and maybe Kelsey and a different stud, or Ricky Seals-Jones and Hill. That would be my two ways of approaching this. Or we go Kelsey and kind of do it up different. But in that case, we're going to have to punt. We're going to have to punt a wide receiver, Amon-Ra, or something else. So it's not going to work any other way. It's one or the other. Kelsey and a cheapie, or St. Brown, and then we could pay up at some of the other wide receiver spots. That looks how that's how the week is setting up. Let's see if there's any other cheap wide receivers that I can get behind more than this Amon-Ra. Man, I really don't want to play him. Higgins. No, it's really bad. It's really bad. You cannot do this. Marquis Brown, by the way, is locked in for me at 5,900. What the fuck? By the way, Marquis Brown being at 5,900 is just a misprice. So that's just a misprice. This guy has torn shit up week after week, and not even just last week, but like 20, 36, 25, 20. Misprice. In this game, matter of fact, I believe he's a must play. Let's take a look at the Dom station and see if we can get any other interesting info here. Little tidbits. So Keenan Allen, 6,400. Jacoby Myers is popping. Yeah, Marquise Brown still not even popping in projection models yet, which is ridiculous. What the? He will. That'll be factored in. Yeah, he's got time. It'll be factored in. But here we go. So we're going to throw Marquise Brown in here. I am going to do the approach of Seals-Jones, actually. So I really want to, man, I want to make it work. Let's see if we've got a cheap enough running back 3. Who's our third running back? Throw one in the flex here. How much is Jamar Chase? Yeah. Chase is priced up. I think it's 6,700. So yeah, they priced Chase up pretty well. I love the Chase play. I love DJ Moore. I love a lot of these plays. So let's just start at the top here. Like, of course, Devontae Adams is great. Tyreek Hill is great. Mike Williams. A lot of no Booker. No, not doing that. Not against the Rams. Jefferson. The whole upper zone here of wide receivers is really good. Adams, Hill, Mike Williams, Justin Jefferson's fine. Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore. Hopkins is probably overpriced for his role on the team, but he'll get there on occasion. So that whole upper tier is really, really worthwhile. I'm fine with all of them. Then it starts to get a little sketchier here. Keenan Allen's still good, but then Cortland Sutton is very volatile. He could do it here, but he's volatile. Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, little volatile play. Cooper, volatile. Brandon Cooks, volatile. So it gets a little sketchier as we get down into this zone. And so my preference, Myers is fine for PPR. Pittman, probably a PPR guy as well. I don't mind him. Allen Robinson, again, more of a stack with his quarterback guy. Ruggs, more of a big play guy. So I think the move is you do want to get up to this zone of wide receivers here where they're elite. So let me see if how to do that here. So I think we do go with a Seals Jones. Go down. We pay down here. Got 7,600. That means we can only get one elite wide receiver in here. We put Tyreek Hill and we finish it out. Ooh, Chase Fitz, Jonathan Taylor, Gibson. A lot of good choices. Mixon, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. The lower we go, the better our ability to upgrade this defense. Although upgrading defense really ain't going to get us a whole lot. Christian McCaffrey, 8,800. Dude, if he starts, we're going to have to be interested in him as well. I'm just saying. Hashtag, if we play McCaffrey here, let's say McCaffrey starts. Just go with McCaffrey. Finish out this lineup. Like we do more of a cash lineup. This is something that I really like. As a matter of fact, I love it. Okay, I'm not going to put this in the Millie Maker because it's not correlated, but enough. But Heineke, McLaurin, Ricky Seals-Jones, triple stack. We've got target monster, Keenan Allen. We've got Terry McLaurin in this game where he should smash. We've got Marquis Brown, 5,900, super value. And then at running back, we've got value play, Williams, Darrell Henderson, elite spot, and Christian McCaffrey is the fucking GOAT coming back next week. All right. So, Dave, I will address your question. Okay. How do you build a first place lineup paying a $12 300K with 29,000 people? And Kyle's got the beginning of the answer. You're not, I'll tell you how you're not winning it. First of all, you're not winning it by doing what everybody's doing. You're not winning it by sticking with a chalky approach. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what is everybody going to do? And then don't do that. Figure out what is the most popular play on this slate and then stay the hell away from it. If Darrell Williams is going to be 80% owned, 70, if he's going to be high owned because he's cheap, don't play that guy. You got to figure out what your opponents are going to be doing. You've got to do something unique, different. Don't stack the most obvious game on the slate. Probably not going to get you there. Don't play like the chalk running back. If everybody's kind of like, look what happened last week. No one really played Herbert to Mike Williams because it was a bad matchup and blah, blah, blah. And that went crazy. You've got to do something that the field isn't doing. So ownership projections for taking down tournaments, the most important statistic that you can ever have at your fingertips is ownership projections. I tell you guys this all the time. I don't even need player project. If I just have ownership projections, I can play DFS and I can play it really well. So you need to know what the field is going to do, and you need to be doing something different and unique and that makes your lineup stand out from the crowd. How to do it? My suggestion is keep trying. But if I'm gonna take it a different space for you. If you think that if you base and judge yourself based on your ability to beat 29,000 other lineups ever in your lifetime, the statistics say it will never happen. And my suggestion for you is instead of worrying about taking down a 300K first place prize and against 50,000 other people or 100,000, my suggestion is play in a 30-person league and try to win that. Try to come in first place out of 50 people. You don't have to play only these ridiculous tournaments. As a matter of fact, I talk about this all the time in all of my stuff, but if you want to be a profitable player, if you want your bankroll to look anything like what mine does, okay? If you want that, then you're not likely to get there by playing in this $3 contest over here against 595 other people. That's not going to get you there. You're going to lose money every time you play that slate. You're minus EV every time you play it. You're not beating 590. It can happen, but it'll take your lifetime to get there. Instead, find a contest like this. Now that's NHL. Fuck NHL. But seriously, this size contest is what you want to do. How about trying to beat 100 people for first place? What's wrong with that? How about trying to beat? Well, let me get some NFL contests going here so I can show you what the money looks like when you win one of these, right? How about even these are too big. I don't even know if they open up these kind of contests that I like to enter this early in the week, but here for you guys, playing the $27 contest and come in first and win $200. You're going up against 21 people. You can beat 21 people with a good solid line. You don't have to find David Njoku to win this. You don't have to land on some crazy ass play to win the 21 person. This, you just use a lineup like what we build in the first look, like a solid yeoman like, high projected, high volume, take an interesting angle, beat 21 other people, win $200. Yeah. Here, the mini gridiron, 200 people. You want to get a little crazy? 200 people, win $500. Mini slant, 600 people. First place, $500. $9 entry. Those are realistic contests. And then eventually you can move up when you win a few of those to the point where you're actually playing in a version of that contest, with $75 entry. Now we're winning 3,000 when we beat a couple hundred people. Now I've got 3,000. Now I can move up to a $300 entry contest. How about that? 50K, 7K to first. That's how you get there. You don't have to beat. This is out of 185 people. It's not likely to beat 236,000 lineups. They're going to hit an amazing lineup that you're going to have a hard time finding on your own. And when I say hard time, I mean 1 in 236,000. Like, you probably have just as good odds of walking around and getting struck by lightning. Like, it's insane odds. People do it, but you want to build your bankroll and your cash and everything. You want to build your DFS approach around trying to beat 50 people, 150 people, 250 people. That's where you can make a smart lineup. Everything when it comes to the giant tournament is more about ownership leverage than anything else. So if you're really good at being contrarian and leveraging ownership, then keep hammering those giant tournaments. But if you're more of like, hey, I want to play the fundamental, really good plays, then you want to be in these 20, 30, 40 person, 100, 200, 300 person contests. So one last thing I'll say, because if any of you guys are not watching my weekend review show on Monday, you really should watch that. It's very, very important. We look at tournaments and what it takes to win them. And we look at, how people approach them and how people win them. But we also show every week that the people who are entering 150 lineups, they lose money 95% of the time. And I have the proof. I count them. Okay. We sort by 150 and we count who made money. And time again, 95 out of 100 are negative. And those are the best players in the world. So if you are mass multi-entering, if you're doing 150 lineups, understand what the expectation is. In order to do that, you have to understand that you're going to lose money 90 to 95% of the time. And then for that 5% of the time that you hit, you damn well, one of those times better come in second, third, first to make up for all of the losing. So it's really important because I show that every week to manage expectations. I don't like that people believe incorrectly that if I just had 150 lineups, I would always make money. It's the opposite. The more lineups you put into a tournament, the more likely you are to lose money and lose a lot of money. So people have it confused. The statistical evidence is very, very clear because each corresponding next lineup is a little bit worse than the one that was before it. So it just increases the likelihood of losing money. That is how DFS works. I shouldn't. This went 30 minutes. So there we go. We went off on a tangent. We talked about what isn't the first look lineup, but hopefully, oh, there he is. That's right. Fucking A, Nick. I'm glad that you're here watching this. Exactly. You are not going to make it. So, that's awesome that Nikki's in here because I literally emailed you and went over this with you yesterday because the expectation was wrong. Put the bulk of your entry money into a 100-person, a 50-person, 150-person contest, and follow the technique that I show on the Players Club, which I do every Saturday for DFS Army subscribers, for DFS Army VIPs only, where we first come up with the chalk build of the week, and then we look for ways to modify it to be unique in, we're not necessarily Millie Maker tournament, but these 100, 200, 300, 400-person tournaments. What can we build around to take one of those down? That's what I like doing. That's the fun part of DFS for me, thinking what the crowd is going to do, deciphering what they're going to do, and then figuring out how I can be a little bit different, but not stupid about the lineups that I'm putting in. How can I be creative? So that's what we do. If you're not signed up for DFS Army as a VIP already, you will not have access to that show. You won't have access to our ownership projections, our player projections, our chalkboard, our matchups tool, which is the greatest tool that I use every single week right here. Our power rankings tool, which is spectacular. All of these premium tools that you have at your disposal. I think a lot of people think that you can just push this button here and you can make a free money lineup. That is not how DFS works. That is not how NFL DFS will ever work. And an optimal lineup is never, never, never good for tournaments. So don't do that. That will not work. It's just not going to work. You've got to look at the ownerships. You've got to do something unique to take down a tournament. And playing the base optimal will never do it for you. So that is not a good expectation to have going in as well. So we're going to manage those expectations. And at DFS Army, when you subscribe, we're going to teach you some of these techniques, the bankroll management, and how to craft creative lineups with correlation in it. If you're not signed up at DFS Army as a VIP, go there now. Do it now. DFSarmy.com. Use my promo code Geek. We also have a free month offer in there. If you want to get a free month of it, you click on free offer at the top right here, and you get all these different ways. It's not, you don't have to like listen to an article. You just sign up for any of these awesome sites, take the promotions that we have. You get a lot of free shit when you sign up, and you get a month of DFS Army, which is worth $70. So why the hell wouldn't you just put $70 in Super Draft or Prize Picks or Underdog or one of these instead and play it? You can gamble it. You don't have to give us the money, and we'll teach you how to play DFS in a profitable plus EV manner. So again, get signed up DFS Army, promo code Geek, or use the free month offer, whatever you guys want to do. Beyond that, guys, I will be back on Wednesday. Wait, the schedule this week, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. on the Sharp app. I'll be joining Anthony Gargano for the Wise Guys, where we'll give you our betting tips for the week. Thursday morning, I'll be joining top 10 DFS player in the world, John Statsational Alessia, to give a full slate breakdown. Public right on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. That's called the game plan. We do it every week, probably a 2-hour show, so take your time with that one. Then Saturday, the highlight of the week, the Players Club. We drink Blue Moons. We make lineups together. We go through the whole slate with the benefit of a full week of research. So come on back for all of that. And remember to like, subscribe, notifications, all of that shit on this channel. I will see you guys next time. Scott knows what Scott's over here taking down $10,000 like twice a week. Literally shows me a 10K winner twice a week, crushing MLB. The Dom Station, there's a technique to it. He will teach you that as well. Matter of fact, I feel like MLB, you can just push a button and make money, apparently. It's amazing. Anyway, that'll do it for the Players Club. Well, not the Players Club. What the fuck? The FanDuel first look, week 6 lineup. I will see you guys later in the week for the game plan and the Wise Guys. Good luck this week.